talking to all of you. We're having a little technical difficulty, but we're going to be okay. And just for an introduction, I'd like to restart that introduction so we're not lost in translation. We are recording, it's live. And if you ever want to be with us on live, here's what you'll do. You will find and follow us. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Uh, Facebook is where we live record, and you hear our streams. If you miss it, you can always hear our streams. We are now streaming in your favorite places that you listen to your favorite podcast. I do hope that Vibe Talk Facing the Lion is one of your favorites. So, as I said, it's all about changing times. Time changing. And as you know, Transformation Tuesday is all about change. But what are we changing into and from? We are changing our perception of our show in that it's always going to be about emotions, mental mindfulness, mental health, emotional health. But in that, we're going to let you find us easily. If you will, do me a favor and scan the QR codes. Each of them will take you to our show. That's Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We are changing. Imagine AI. I'm going to tell you, I'm having a lot of fun using AI. And AI can be very positive, and it has been very, very positive. It's probably sick of me because what I do with AI, I get to ask it to create a poster for me, something that I'm thinking of, such as the one that you're looking at. Our podcast is Changing Times. Can you imagine, just by the click of a button or the scanning of your camera, this is what we're doing. We are able, with our phones, to get the help that we need. We're able to do that. I am so proud. I'm so proud of us. I am so proud of us. Can I just say that? Is it okay to just say how proud you are of a show? We were online earlier for those of you who are following us and right on our Facebook page, and we're having some technical difficulty, but I actually did. I actually You have to do it one more time, Trish. I actually really commend it. I commend it. My beautiful co-host, Trish, our very own, who has been so kind and generous using her time being of a college student working hard there. She spends much of her time in between her family and myself and going to school. Thank you again, Trish. Thank you. And good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
This podcast is about changing times. Although I want to let our listeners know we haven't changed that we're going away. We're changing in that we're evolving into something better than we were the day before. And as you guys noticed, we now have QR codes. The reason I want that is because by the time you type in a website, 5 minutes go by, and if you're anything like me, you're going to type in something wrong much of the time, as I do. I do typos and I get frustrated. But the QR codes are really amazing that you just scan it and you click it. I've been able to share that with many people that I have come across. And that has changed from when we started 5.5 years ago versus present, this day, Tuesday, transformation. We've changed. We haven't changed our message, but I am so impressed and amazed that all the hard work, all the hard work, Trish and I, we have our meetings on every other Wednesday. We talk about the changes we like, and we're not ashamed of any changes. We are proud because a lot of work has went into it. You know, those days, Trish, where you just don't feel like it. And for me, Nisi, when I just don't feel like it, we do one more podcast. And those one mores that we've done are equal to the 300 and how many days do we have? 360. All those days, that's the one more that we did that maybe we didn't feel like doing. And you can find us on the internet. I wanted to demonstrate to you all, if you go to Google and try it out, because it's kind of fun. Kind of fun. It is fun. And I'm going to go to Google, right? And I'm going to type in Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast if everyone is with me. Now, if you've done that, then you see what we're talking about. If everybody does this on your phone, and be sure you're not driving, please and thank you. Be safe if you're at home or in your office and you're on your break. And now under Google, I'm going to touch AI mode. I was so fascinated by this today. Changing times, transformation. So I touch AI, and what does AI say? The Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast is a self help podcast that focuses on managing emotions, feelings, and discovering one's purpose through motivation, inspiration, and a positive mindset. Check this out. The podcast is interactive and encourages listener participation through calls and messages. It is available on various platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The podcast shares a name with the memoir Facing the Lion. Uh, this book
was actually a young girl's experience as a Nazi, or she was in the Nazi concentration camp. She was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and here's what happens: you face a variety of things just for her religious standing. Uh, it's similar to that, but it isn't that. It is a podcast that is focusing on self help, emotional well being, rather than directly related to the memoir's historical content. If you want a good read, that is a good book because she faced persecution because of being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, it is so amazing. If you want to click on something, ask AI. Ask ask AI, because you know what? A lot of people, I was skeptical about AI, but I'm learning to use it. Okay. But I wanted to share that with you, what it was all about. Uh, it even says here, does the podcast relate personal challenges to the lion concept? Let's see what it says. Yes, the Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast uses the lion concept as a metaphor for personal challenges and confronting emotions. In essence, facing the lion represents directly addressing and overcoming difficulties, fears, emotions that may be intimidating or difficult to handle. The podcast likely uses the image of a lion to evoke a sense of strength, courage, in facing obstacles head on. Challenges facing feelings and emotions further support this interpretation. It goes on to say the podcast aims to help listeners strategize through motivation, inspiration, and a positive mindset to navigate these lions in their lives and to discover their purpose. This is AI saying this. Trish, what do you think about that?
I think it's amazing, and it's shocking to me. I'm actually looking at the same thing. I'm following along on my laptop. So, um I think it's incredible, and if AI can find us, you guys can find us.
Okay, that's point number that part. Love it. I just realized that today as I was searching, because sometimes, and Trish, I apologize to you because we were supposed to start at 7:30. Now uh, you guys as an audience, you don't have a set time, okay? In an in line with what Trish, as my co-host, has just said to you, the only way you're going to be able to participate with us is that you follow us and you give yourself a notification when we come on. We want to thank you all for doing just that. Now, don't close your notes because I want to talk about this change. The next question that I want to ask AI, give me an example of how the podcast uses the lion metaphor in an episode. So amazing. It's amazing. Uh, the example. First, I'm going to read the top. It says finding specific examples of the lion metaphor in Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast episodes might be difficult without listening to the entire podcast library. However, based on the information available, the podcast likely uses the metaphor as follows. Trish, you want to read that example of the lion metaphor in a Vibe Talk episode?
I'm not sure if we got the same thing, but
Okay.
mine says examples and episode titles and descriptions. The episode title Challenges of Loss directly relates to facing difficult life experiences aligning with the lion theme. Another example is the episode Regulating Emotional Intelligence deals with understanding and managing emotions, something that can be, hold on.
No worries.
Okay. Something, my page is loading.
No worries. No worries. Until it loads, the example, because yours is good too, because that's exactly what it says. I read this. Example of the lion metaphor in a Vibe Talk episode. Consider an episode of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast focusing on a listener dealing with career stagnation and self doubt. The host, that is Trish and myself, might frame the situation as facing the line of career uncertainty or battling the line of self doubt. The the following analogies could be used. The lion's roar. Do we have that, Trish? Let's check that. Do we have the lion's roar? Are you there?
I'm here, and no, I don't.
Do we have a lion's roar on our podcast?
Oh, yes, yes, we do.
Yes. The lion's roar. Here's why we have it. The overwhelming feelings of fear, anxiety, and inadequacy that comes with job hunting or taking on new challenges. You hear that roar, right? Anybody got that sound? If you don't have it, we're going to present it to you right now in our changing times. So very important that you all understand how serious we are about Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And we're going to be changing the roar because I feel like I cut it off when I recorded it, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But here's a sound that you might be hearing. So checkmate on that. And then staring down the lion. When we first started, acknowledging the problem head on and refusing to let it paralyze you. Some of our visuals, Trish, have you noticed? Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Are you talking about our like posters, how the lions are facing?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What have you noticed?
Over time, since we're talking about time, first we had half of the lion's face, and then we had the other half of the lion's face, which represents parts of the brain that, like we talked about, and now we
Mindset,
have
yeah.
it. Yeah, now we have the full lion. Sometimes it's staring right at you, and sometimes we have it facing down, like down towards our topic and things like that. So I've noticed that.
Yeah. Facing each family member or family members as a whole. Wow. Times are really changing. And keep in mind, guys, we're talking about AI because we don't want anybody out there to say, well, what does that mean? Because today is your time to understand what it means through AI. Now, staring down at the line, taming the lion, developing strategies like creating a compelling uh, resume, networking, practicing positive self-talk to manage fear and build confidence, and talking it out together to see that other people also are facing lions, riding the lion, learning to harness your passion skills to take control of your career path or your life's path and achieve your goals. So, what do? Inspire and give positive affirmation. We don't want to give you advice because everybody is different. Remember last week we talked about perception. The way that I may have come through something is not the way that you may come through it. And so we stay away from advice. You know, I'm not an advice columnist. I am, however, a certified life coach as well as educator and counselor, certifiably so. And so my job is to do just that, to give you affirmation positively, to inspire you to be something better than you were the day before, overcoming the challenges and finding your purpose to help you and your inner life move forward with your. The best way that we have found to do this is by our own stories. You've heard Trish and I, no matter who is in our live room or who isn't, we ask each other questions. Have you guys noticed that? And then you can take from the questions that we're asking, you can take that and you know what you can say? Wow, I'm I might do this, I might do that. We never and we told you guys that from the get-go. Many of you have been with this podcast for as long as it started. Many people have gone on and become their and found their purpose. And that's great. My hat's off, and we stand ready to support you. But here's what we don't do: we don't give you advice. You know, we want to be different. We want you to use your tools. Your tools are what? What have been some of the tools that we have used in Vibe Talk? Trish, can you think of any?
Um, the first one that comes to mind is using our minds. That's
Yeah,
a tool.
yeah. Because you have a beautiful brain. And I always think about Macaulay Culkin's image in Home Alone. And now I understand why that image is there because when he was left home alone, he had to think up things to keep the bad guys away. And didn't wasn't his mind so clever to be just a young person? It was so creative, right? And that's what your mind can be in that small size. And I literally mean that brain. Some of us might have big heads, but nevertheless, our brain is as big as our fist. If a baby can learn to use its mind to restore language, to think about language, we can do it, guys. Changing times, transition of times. I began to look at some of the things that had not yet come to be formed, but we were just with the idea, and we went from one phase, like Trish talked about the lion, we went from one phase to the other, and now we are growing, we're flowering. If you know anything about flowers, my mom loves flowers, and I am her child because I love flowers. Don't ask me to plant them because they die. But we are all watered flowers. You start at the root, and the root comes from the darkness. But then what do you have to nurture it? The sun, the watering, the nurturing it, the feeding, plant feeding to keep it alive. That's what we are, guys. Out of that lion is something beautiful. Something beautiful. And that's our theme for today by Tina Turner. Something beautiful remains. Love that song because that's what we are. AI asked another question I thought was really great. Give me an example of a listener call about uh, Facing the Lion podcast. Uh, we have that. Trish, do you want to find that? If you can. Is it difficult? If it is, we can use just a sample of something.
Um, I don't have that. It doesn't have
Okay.
a list of questions like yours. So yeah, I have to type it in the question.
No problem. That's why I said that. Thank you so much. One thing I love about Vibe Talk is I'm not afraid to share. I love Trisha and I. We work great together, and I love her energy, and I feed off of her, and I'm hoping that she's feeding off of my ideas. And if you're going to do a podcast with somebody, make sure that you guys are really listening to each other because that's what's made Vibe Talk Fixing the Lion podcast such a great podcast. And I'm not saying it because we've done it. You know why I'm saying it, ladies and gentlemen? I'm saying it because of the work, the time that goes into this. I could be doing something totally different, and Trish will message me and say, or send me an idea. She's been working on it. The same for me. I'll be working on something and I will hit Trish with it and we co-partner. It's like, okay, or nah, or let's add this, or let's tweak this, or you guys have no idea of the work that her and I have. Give me a minute. You have no idea of the work that her and I have done over the years. Do we get tired? Do you get tired, Trish?
Honestly, sometimes.
Yeah, I get tired. I get sick. I don't want to. I don't want to do this. And Trish will nudge me along and say, "When are we gonna do this? You need to do a little bit more of this." and I'm working on it, Trish. I'm really trying, and we're going to talk about that in just a bit. So we might get a call. Let's say Sarah calls, and Sarah is struggling with public speaking. These are scenarios because we do have real calls, and if you want to hear the real callers, go to our Think About Thursdays and go to our caller section. Okay, go to that because you're going to hear real scenarios, but we're going to give you one. The scenario could be, oh my goodness, she is feeling like I just can't, I don't see myself growing in this. But now thinking about the lion and what it means, I might give her an example of, let's do an example. How would you get me to uh, listen to what you have to say, just in general conversation, starting with just her and myself. And people call in. When you call in, the number is, Trish, what is our 800 number?
Our 1-800 number is 1-888-721-9260.
Yes, thank you for that. That is a toll-free number. We also have 2 additional numbers just updated yesterday. So Sarah calls in and Sarah says, hey, I'm really having this situation. I'm not able to be okay with public speaking. I'm anxious, and I think about it and the way that it goes in my life. I feel like I just can't do it. So what do I tell her? I might use an example like this. Hey, Sarah, did you hear that lion? What sound did it make? What would you say, Trish?
A roar?
Yeah, did you hear that roar? You can be just like that lion. How so? The lion is telling me that roar, here I am. Here I am. So when we face a lion head on, we're challenging ourselves. Our lions, what do we know that they mean in our changing times, or that have always meant strength, courage, right? So when we give a speech, we want to give it like we mean it, right? We don't have to be loud. Sometimes people are very loud and they want you to know that they're there. They don't have to tell you because you hear them, right? But then there's very people who are very shy and quiet. And maybe Sarah, as a listener, is very shy and quiet. So by asking Sarah if she heard that roar, how can she apply that in her life? How would you apply that in your life with public speaking, Trish, if you were Sarah?
If I was Sarah, I actually had public speaking, so I know
I
how it
know you
goes.
do. That's why I'm asking. Go ahead.
So if I was Sarah, if I had to compare the lion's roar with my speaking, I would say I would speak with boldness and
Yeah.
also with basically with confidence as well, and also with meaning, because and also identity, because you know when you hear the lion's roar, you know it's a lion. You know that. So I will use it as identity, confidence, and boldness in my speaking.
I love that. Thank you for that. And that is just what it's talking about. Giving Sarah encouragement to validate herself. What can she do? Trish, thank you for that. A well illustrated example of hearing the lion. So I would give Sarah encouragement, inspiration, reminding her of the lion's strength and her ability to be able to face it, and using the important skill of the mind, the brain. So we engage in conversation. We want to be able to help people to confront their various lions so that they can live with purpose. Not everybody knows how to do that. I want you guys to understand that. Uh, are there reoccurring problems or challenges on Vibe Talks? Are there reoccurring listener challenges? What do you guys think? If you've been with me long enough, we want you to call the number. Have you heard a reoccurring listener challenges that they call with the same problem or challenge, excuse me? I say challenge because a problem is perplexing. A challenge makes you think about options. We do have emotional regulation, meaning that the listeners uh, think about their feelings, their emotions, and this podcast helps you to be able to understand your feelings, your emotions. Overcoming personal obstacles, you hear us use such things as cars, planes, which I will not get into because I'm scared. You hear us talking about traveling, journeys, right? How do we face these obstacles, these challenges, so that fear can be healthy and safe, right? Because I have a morbid fear of airplanes. I really do. Um, and we want to help you to discover what you can do. We are talking about change and emotion, or excuse me, changing times. It's the podcast. And our song for today is, uh, what did I say, Trish? Tina Turner's song. I can't even remember.
I
Ah,
can't remember the song either. Something about beautiful.
oh, something beautiful remains. That's the song. Listen to that song. Um, Dealing with emotions, anxiety, anger, fear. We talk about fear as a four-letter word. You know, a lot of us think about other four-letter words, but we're talking about fear as a four-letter word. Building self-confidence. How do we manage stress? We find motivation. We also want you to be able to goal set. Would it be fair for me to give you goal setting? Or would it be better if you drew out the plans for that? So the facing the lion metaphor that we're using, it is going to be your own journey. You might have reoccurring challenges. We talk about that often. We have callers that may call, not quite overcoming. We've had people that have been in our group when we first started who have went off and become coaches, doing better, doing great in life. And you know what I love the most about this? in changing times, guess what? People will always come back to you, even if they're in their life and they have done something different. Because everybody doesn't stay, and that's okay. They may listen to us here or there or everywhere, and that's okay. But they always come back to say thank you. In fact, I just got a listener who was a regular in our group, says, I just want to say hi. How are you doing? And I thought, that's very nice. Because a lot of people I can't remember by name, but he was a regular. And he just sent me, and we want to say thank you, Tyler, for that message, just to see how we're doing. We really appreciate that. So that's what we mean when we say we are interactive. Have you listened? Vibe Talk, excuse me, always faces its light. Did you know that? We're going to be right back. We promise. Be right back with Trisha's Treasures. Come unwind with the healing, a place where we feel thrilled to heal. Where hope begins and the pain can cease. The Healing Center, your home for peace, for peace. Facing the Lion podcast. Now up is Trisha's Treasures. Trish?
So as I was listening and conversating on this um episode, I was thinking about when I first created the first theme, because we have different themes now, as you guys know. We have, and for those of you who don't know, we have a lot of advertisement songs, clips, whatever you want to call it. We have a lot of those. But I remember Miss DC asked me to do a basically a facing the challenges type uh theme song. And so she just told me that she wanted something that was bold, but also with a lion roar. And I was like, okay, I think I can do that. So the point of it was in my brain with the idea, I was like, it has to speak volumes, because the main point is facing challenges and how the challenges can also be loud, and the volume can be also high with how intense they are, but you're facing it with the same intensity. So as I was creating it, I was so unsure with myself. I was like, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is what she was looking for, but this is how I see it. This is how I feel about it. And so you'll hear the theme song most of the time on Friday. It goes with the bold music and me going like facing the lions, basically. So that's the song I'm talking about. And when I sent it, she was like, wow, this is amazing. In my brain, I was like, I don't think I was critiquing myself very, very much. I didn't give myself the applause, basically. That's how I am when I create for Vibe Talk. I work very hard a lot. It's very emotional for me because I work I work hard, but I don't give myself credit like when I try very hard, and that's changed over time that I've been with Vibe Talk because I wasn't always doing this, guys. I started as a listener, and I became assistant manager, and now I'm the co-host. Isn't that crazy? And it's like, whoa, that's 3 phases that happened in 5.5 years that I went through.
Wow.
And it's been exciting and it's been amazing. And also, it speaks volumes. I felt the roar sometimes doing this because a big part of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast and Healing Center, yep, the name has changed over time too. And a big part of it is being honest with yourself and facing yourself, aka the lion that's in the mirror, you, the one that you're staring at when you're brushing your teeth or doing your hair or you're doing your makeup or you're straightening your suit. That's who you're looking at. The person that you have to face and deal with every day. And it becomes hard sometimes, but a part of me is like, yeah, you'll have hard days, but you've been with this for 5.5 years. And guess what? Every time things get a little difficult, a little rocky, you still face the lion though. You still get up. You're still persevering. You're resilient. And you know what to do when the more that you face, the more knowledge that you get while facing those challenges. So I say all that to say it does take time. It takes time to face yourself. Excuse me. It takes time to reflect and get to the goal that you want to reach. As we talked about, is it better to just give you a goal or let you plan it out the way you see fit to plan it out? Because no one knows you better than you know you. So if you're facing challenges, you're looking at it like, why is it taking so long? How long will it take me to get to where I want to be? That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
I
So
love that.
so when you do that, when you're hearing that voice, you're asking those questions, it's okay to take the time. It's okay because as our podcast has grown over time, I'm thankful for the time. I thank God for the time and the time to come for us to grow as a platform. And some of you always come back. And the thing that I love about this is the people that come back and we wonder, how are they doing? I remember when they came on the podcast. I always wonder how you guys are doing, and it makes me happy that when you guys give us a visit, we see you guys pop up in the chat sometimes while we're talking, and it makes me even more grateful for the time because over time you remember us, you come back, and we remember you. Well, sometimes, but when you remember us, it makes me feel grateful that over the time we impacted somebody. We helped one person, and that is fine with me. We used our time wisely. So, thank you to everyone that's come to our podcast. I'm not saying this as a goodbye, I promise. I'm not saying this as a goodbye. I'm just saying thank you for showing us that our time not wasted.
Thank you for that, Trish. Very, very, very well said. And if you want to hear more from Trish's treasures, go check it out. You can hashtag find her on YouTube. And don't forget, if you think that her Trish's treasures is something, wait till you hear the music. Trisha's responsible for much, if not all of the sound for Vibe, or all of the sound. What am I saying? I will give you your flowers, my friend. All of the sound, the musical sound. And I mean, it's like creative art. It's wow. Wow. Like she told you guys earlier, I will ask her, hey, can you do this for me? She comes out with something better than I can't, my brain can't even top it. And she is the visionary. And so I thank you, Trish. I thank you for all the days that you put up with me. You know, maybe you wanted to be doing something else. You have family, you have schooling, you have your responsibilities. We've got sick days. We have family members who have been ill, and we've had to give our time to them first, and that's okay. There are some days, like Trish said, it's harder than others. But when we are not here, because there used to be a time before we changed, we were here every single day. How many videos do we now have, Trish?
I have to look it up.
707, 700 and something. 700 plus. Something like that. I just want to say thank you, because Trish said something very important. Without you listening, why, we could be here all by ourselves and nobody even know who we are. AI, the internet, social medias, podcasts that let you put your things on. And mind you, it's not everything that goes on the air. We're in the air, guys. Radio waves, international. Okay. And I'm so very excited about that, because podcasts have their standards. These platforms have their standards. We are doing something right. And I'm always going to give thanks to our Most High Jehovah God. I will always give thanks to Him, because without Him, none of this would have been done. It was just a thought. And it kept coming up. And it kept saying to me, you need to say something. So in the COVID, when much of the world was shut down and everybody was experiencing this never before thing that happened, that made us sit down, that made us pause, that made us think. What do we do with our time? We could be depressed, right, guys? We could feel sorry for ourselves, or we can do something that helps someone. That's how we started. So let me ask you in a word, do you think Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast represents and symbolizes the lion. Do you think it's fitting for us to use the lion? And by the way, our, I'm thinking, our email address is vibetalkfacingthelion at gmail.com. Please send us your inspiration. If you're quiet, shy, timid, let us know. If you want us to read something over the air, Trisha and I, we go over things because we want our program to always be in the light of helping and encouraging people, not just another podcast. Excuse me for that cough, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. But we want you to benefit from the changing times. We want you to come into our center, the Vibe Talk Facing the Lion Healing Center. Did you know you could even ask AI what the Vibe Talk Facing the Lion Healing Center is? It's amazing what we have done with the power of impact. The power to be able to help someone because we don't know who's out there listening. But one word, one episode, one reel can change them. I challenge you to change. I challenge you to journey. I challenge you to discover. I challenge you to be the lion that I knew you could be. Thanks, everybody, for joining us right here on Fight Talk Facing the Lion. Until next time, challenge yourself to be better than the day you were yesterday. Make today great and keep challenging yourself for this Tuesday transformation. We'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us. Because I don't want you just to make a resolution. I want you to think about. I was really about the moves that then I got the vibe with it. I really took my time with it. I really love the ride with it. Really got the vibe with it. I took my time with it. I really love the ride with it. You can really see a better you when you get the vibe with it. Yeah, when you get the vibe.